I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming? Or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming? Or on the edge of remembering?
Hello, my darlings. I am back. I'm glad you are too. How are you doing today? Yesterday, I worked on this for 3 straight hours. I don't even know where the time went because I didn't finish the project. But like nobody needs 3 hours to watch me pull this wool apart. So I just deleted it because I have to do more of the same now. So whatever you missed yesterday, just triple this. Okay, the purpose of this is a traditional style cobweb scarf, which I did not follow instructions with mine. I like mine better in some ways, but this is an interesting way of doing it, so we are doing it this way. I would say it saves time, but it does not save time. This is taking way longer for me to set up than pulling it out and laying it out and just doing it, you know, the checkerboard layers. This is one clump taken apart, just until it's thin, thin, thin. And I can see why, even though I can see through this, mine is more delicate because of the way I did it. This is inevitably going to have thicker areas because the stuff does not pull evenly because it wasn't, scrunched together really evenly. Some places in the skein, I'm calling it a skein for the moment, that's not really what it is, the braid, where, well, it's dark on the outside where they hit the dye the most, and then it goes in and you get lighter and lighter as you go in. So the lighter colors is the inside of the squashed up yarn, and it's super fine, and it like just, meshes with itself. It's not semi-felted, but in a way it is, because some of these hairs get crosswise of each other in the dyeing process, I'm assuming, because in the carding it looks like, it did a beautiful job. That's kind of like tie-dye, where you squash up areas of your shirt and dye it, and there's something to help it resist the dye, like rubber bands or strings. Yeah, some of this, it's going to be interesting to see how I work out some of this stuff. I'm not really sure at the moment. This will be the first and last time I do this method. Now, theoretically, all of the fibers should be going in one direction. And yeah, that's why you end up with these holes, I guess. That's why you end up with, the cobwebbed look. But I think I can do better. One thing I learned is if you can avoid it, don't use the scissors. Because it leaves a blunt edge. It's kind of like when you cut your hair. So although I did cut a giant piece off to do this project, that was mainly because pulling it apart this way to divide it would have been, well, a lot messier. Now I can and probably will turn things like this into cool little textural features. But not yet. I'm still having to thin this out a bit. All of this will be very useful, just not right this second. Since I don't have the silky ribbons to work out with this, look into the patterns, I'm going to have to come up with some other features. But the colors are just so fabulous. I love these colors. And this feels like air, so light and fluffy. Too bad you can't just go and stretch it and open it all up. It is a process. It's tedious. And because the colors are already established and the patterns is already established, it's not as interesting as my other projects. To me, anyway. Nevertheless, I mean, once you get the basics, this is pretty much a foolproof way to make a product without completely blowing it, because it's really, you follow the basic instructions, you're going to end up with a scarf. It's like veils, so beautifully layered. It also makes it difficult to take apart. Now, I got a beautiful wool braid from the same company in New Zealand, in another color selection of oranges and all that. Absolutely gorgeous. I would buy that again. And I would buy this one again, but I will use it the way I did the first round. Come on. It's knitted together so beautifully. Check that out. You can see why it's like a pillow, because it's like that. Now I will have to reconstruct some areas of this. Most important thing, though, is getting the layers as thin as possible again, as this was just layered so it could be dyed. And kept safe until it's time to turn it into yarn. And this must make an amazing yarn with these colors. I'm going to take you off. There we go. This is a huge amount of wool. When I got the braid, I had no idea at all how dense it is. You have to keep in mind what this looks like. When you first get it, it is a braid. Like that. And you have no idea. But if you're going to do something with it, it's going to end up, you're going to have to pull it all apart so you can either feed it into something or felt it. It is super, super dense. Here is this one after it's been pulled apart and stretched out a little bit. And you can see some of this was originally like more like pencil roving and put in here. So I'm not sure how these are done, other than, boy, it's intense working with them. Because I'm not even sure what it's referred to, a braid or a knot or a skein. I'm used to thinking of the skein as something that's already been turned into a yarn. But look at that color. Now this is a beautiful fine merino. Super, super soft. And I could just wet this down and felt it as it is, but it'll be thicker than I want. I want something that is going to float on the air. And the first one I made does exactly that. But I built that with a very sparse hair. This is still like, oh my goodness. Oh yeah, we gotta take it all off. Go back to this end. Now, if you've ever carded wool or any fiber, you recognize what's happened here and how they did this. But I don't have to do this step because I don't have the sheep or that kind of raw material. By the time I get it, it's ready to use, or in this case, semi-ready to use. Now, because this whole braid was not made with one single movement, we have things like that in that layer. I can't even describe what this feels like. Spongy. So, yeah, you gotta try it. You gotta try it yourself. Just to feel these natural fibers and how they handle. I mean, if you're into it. I did not know I would ever be into it. Not like this. I said I did want to spin, and I do have a drop spindle for that purpose. But that is like nothing to me compared to the wet felting technique. Let's pull this off. everything's going to get pieced back together. I don't know how anybody does this just in one piece unless they're going for a heavier scarf. Okay, come in. Okay, that's more like it. Still multiple layers. But at this point, everything I pull off is just going to end up more like pencil roping, and I don't want to do that to the whole thing. So we're just going to have to do the slow way of stretching it this way and that way until we get it cobwebby. There we go. Some of this is getting where I want it. So the Rhinebeck Sheep Festival is supposed to be one of the best in the country. It's Rhinebeck, New York. And since I've only got enough strength to do one of those a year at most, I'm really excited about it. I'm glad it's going to be a really big one. I am going to another one, smaller one, next month. But I don't know what they're going to have in terms of the fibers I'm looking for. I'm sure they'll have all the same general stuff, you know, the demonstrations the farms always have. They show you how to shear the sheep, and every step between the shearing and the knitting, which is lovely because I love seeing everything go like that. Now, I'm very familiar with that at this point, but it's still cool to go on site. So when I go this September to the local fair, or the more local fair, I should say, any questions I don't get answered or things I think about later, I'll have another opportunity when we go to the New York Fair. So I expect to be a lot more knowledgeable by the end of this year. And I would love starting the new year, starting with some new fibers to try, you know, blending. I'm real curious about all those curly locks that you can get. Now, those are very expensive because they're obviously limited. They're, I can't see myself covered in those, but I really would like to see them used, excuse me, as little decorations here and there, little accents. Okay, this is way wider. I know it's going to shrink, but not enough. This is wider than I want the final scarf to be. Even shrunk. So after I get everything stretched out, I am going to be tearing some down the sides. And since I already knew that it didn't bother me to start the separation process, like pretty much anywhere, I could get it going. But we have, come back here. Here. What do you think you're doing? Yes, can't have that. That's just a waste of space. So I washed and ironed the newly joined green panels, and I see my first mistake, aside from not making them exactly the same size, which I already anticipated would be difficult and ultimately unnecessary. I kind of like the randomness of putting together an outfit or a top, because in the cutting and trimming, it's all, doesn't matter. It'll all be evened out. But I see I need to reinforce the bond between two pieces. I made it perfectly cobwebby, but then it looked a little strange in the pattern. So we will improve on that. Come on. I imagine this is kind of what it feels like to pet an Angora rabbit. Super soft bunny. Now, I think this is double what it needs to be for this design. So we're going to turn these into decorations at the end. I might turn them into tassels or fringe, I should say, not tassels on this. Believe it or not, this is still double thick. Maybe that's what gives it the strength. Even though everything is kind of facing the same direction, not normally a recipe for strength. But I think we're going to start getting these all laid out. Now, once I've got everything laid out, joined on the board here, the actual felting process shouldn't be that big a deal because it's already like so enmeshed that it's problematic for my design. Now you look at that and go, that is so fragile. Fragile my ass. This stuff is way stronger than people imagine when they just look at it. Although that thing I made is fragile enough, when you're washing it, it really should just be gently pushed in the water and then lifted out and not stretched. You gotta let it completely drip dry before you block it out into its shape. And then I ironed it and hung it up right where I can see it all the time, well, from my bedroom, to remind me to finish the project. Every time I see different colored wool, I get more ideas. And part of me is like a little kid that just wants to jump right in. So I have to control those urges and make sure I do complete the projects. In fact, I am expecting some of that black rope I ordered to arrive today, and that is so I can finish 2 purses. Actually, 3. So I'm looking forward to seeing that arrive today. Okay, so here we've got this whole other side of the panel. I'm just going to go ahead and separate this now, because I'm going to have to do this piecing together in the end no matter what. There we go. You sit there for a minute. Let's make sure this is all done. Okay, so all right, there we got like, this is actually, this little spot is like 4 layers of wool. That is, it just keeps blowing my mind. Maybe that'll wear off after a few more years of doing this. I'll be like I am with other art supplies. Oh yeah, I know that. Okay, now we're talking. Okay. A piece of a scarf, oops, sorry, is now stretched out the way I want it. We just have this much more to go, and then another pile. So let's do it one at a time. Okay, so we tore this in half, but we still have multiple layers here. Let's see how far this stretches. Now, I know they spin this into wool, yarn. That's basically what it was being sold for when I discovered it. The person I bought it from doesn't do wet felting herself, but she appreciates what I'm doing, and she has seen samples. All right, let's see if we can finish separating this layer. You're going to be a ballable star. Okay, okay. Hello, Gary. How are you doing? Are you on a break or are you off today? Oh, you are so screwed up. So just gonna pull it here. This is a separate panel to go with that other one. Hold on. So this is the layer I just pulled off, and this is 3 layers thick. So such a very fine micron merino. Rusting in bed. Wow. Look at that. Come on, let's keep turning into a cobweb. Now, some of these dense spots are going to look really cool when everything is put back together. But we're ahead of ourselves with that. Are you comfortable? He must be comfortable. He's fallen asleep. All right. Cobweb 2. Quebec. Oh my God, this feels so thick compared to that. Like a cushion. Okay, let's see, where are we? Yeah. All right, we're gonna just pull you off there because you're not helping me. There we go. I'm starting to feel, if I ever get this opened up, we will have a beautiful scarf eventually. Now, it's a good thing I don't do this for a living, because given the hours invested already before I even get to the felting part, I don't know what I'd want to charge. But it would be more than what I paid for the wool. Through another layer. Well, you know what? I'm going to peel some of this off because I can use this to fill in some holes later. Like, I know what you're trying to do. I don't want you to do that, but we're going to have to pull you off anyway. I'm talking to the wool. Ignoring. When you see it float, we're getting closer to the goal. We want this to be very floaty, like weigh nothing, or close to nothing. Oops, oh shit. A little premature felting. I think I better cover that ball before I do some serious damage here. But it's, oh yeah, it's gorgeous. I like it very much. That's why I'm going through this effort. But I like my method better than this, so I won't be doing this again once I use up all of this. I'm returning to my method, which I way prefer for getting this laciness. The advantage to this is you get to see the dye job really well. Now, we did an experiment with it a few weeks ago, like just a little bit, and we felted it and turned it into, of course, bookmarkers where all my samples go. It came out beautiful, which was the inspiration behind going through what I'm going through right now. This, I think my method is better than this. This is a great project for brand new beginners, I guess. Although I think I'd rather teach people the crosshatch method and just show them how to spread out the fibers more sparsely rather than spend so much time pulling apart something that was already like bundled up, really meant for turning into yarn, not doing what I'm doing. We have here. You get wrapped up in towel right now because I don't want you getting everything else around here wet. All right, where are we? Wet. Hold up. I'm not allowed yet. Okay. You see how thick this is? I'm actually separating layers of this wool. They were kind of scrunched together for the purpose of dyeing them. But for my plans, it's going to cause a lot more work. I could have done this much faster. It took 3 hours to get to where I'm at right now. Yesterday, when I saw it was like 3 hours, I've been sitting here for 3 hours doing the same damn thing. That is not a video worth keeping. So I deleted it because I knew I'm going to be doing this for a while. And when I come on, I can show people exactly what I'm doing and what they've missed yesterday without having to make anybody sit there for 3 hours. So I got a notice as a content creator. I guess that's my official title because I'm here. That they're making it easier to broadcast on mobile, meaning my phone. Now, we've had problems with that. For no understanding of mine, I just haven't been able to figure out why my phone videos live on YouTube sound like a chipmunk. Nothing is right with it. So I will try it again. You needed a minimum of 50 subscribers to your channel in order to do a live video from your phone. And I believe I'm past that. I don't know how many subscribers I have actually, because the only reason I even consider the numbers is for the ability to do live videos. So I'll find out sometime this week, I guess. I've got other priorities. But I do want to be able to go back to doing some kitchen videos because I really enjoy it. And it's fun to have a change of scenery. All right, where are we at now? Still have multiple layers, but we're going to tear this apart so I can put it together later in a cobwebby fashion. Okay, so this is more the preferred thickness. You should be able to see through it very, very well. Okay, see my hands. It's actually still a little thick here. I can feel it being cushiony. That's what we want to avoid. Anything that's currently cushy, when it's hit with water, is going to make the colors even more intense because you're going to be combining the layers of color, which is a trick I use or a technique I use in laying out things, the crosshatch method. This, I wanted to enjoy the dye job itself because it is such a beautiful job. But I have to make sure before I hit it with water that everything is really thinned out, or we'll have a lumpy. Well, I am adding extra texture to it, but it's got to hold together. It's got to do a lot of things. And I better be proud of it when I'm done, or I won't wear it. So we have this tangled piece, which is going to be really good for piecing things together because we've got a really nice cobweb going here. Nice and thin. I'm sure people with vastly more experience in felting probably look at me and go, but that's okay because I'm not teaching this. I am showing you what I'm doing as I learn it. So I don't feel any particular obligation to be perfect. Also, one of the things I enjoy about felt is the imperfections, the variations you get in textures, but just so much fun. Oh, that's way too thick right there. So one of the things that they point out when you're working with felt is learning to feel it, learning to feel how thick it is when you're working on it. Obviously, this is letting me know how thick it is where I don't want it to be thick. This right here is perfect, right there. You see, it's more like smoke than wool than you would think about wool. Also, it crosses over here, 2 layers again. Said this is all wrapped up, and what I've been doing for let's see, over 4 hours of work now is just trying to get this one length as separated as possible. Now, a typical scarf, I have 335. All right. That's surprising, since I don't push that, but yay. Thank you for being one of them, and thank you for remembering to do a thumbs up every time you're here, which most people don't. Okay, and this is the main show right here with a backup main show that is still way thick, as you can tell just by looking at it now. Once you see what it's supposed to look like, how light it is, it's like, oh, yeah. How many layers is that? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's 2 to 3 layers that are still stuck together. And as much as I have been pulling it apart, only parts of it are at the level I need them to be before I start the felting. Which means more work on this. I like long scarves. I don't like them really wide. I like things that are very light and floaty. That's what we're looking for, that light floatiness. Now, take a look at that. That might be actually gorgeous. If I do it right. And this is the nerve-wracking part. Okay, so what I'm supposed to start doing is adding warm water and pressing this into a fabric, not 2. I love not having the straight, like, sewing machine kinds of hems. And the cool thing about this stuff is it's basically self-hemming. And once it's felted, it ain't going anywhere. You just have to mush it a little bit on the edges, and it's good to go. But before I start hitting this with water, first of all, I need to go get some more hot water in the container that I just dragged the end of that through. Because if it's not warm, it's not going to help my purpose here. You can do cold water. It just takes a little slower because the fibers are more closed. But in this case, I need a fast felt. So I do want the warm. But also, before I do this, I want to throw some little bits going the other way, even though that is not completely in the way they do this. The regular one will just leave it, little garnishes and stuff, but that's it. The sample I made, I took a little bit of green and kind of just moved it around a little, and I think it added a lot visually. And we do have, oh, damn it, I did it again, right in the water. I have to watch that. We have this, it's already nice and thin. A little bit of black. So basically this becomes like instant fabric, if I do it right. Okay, now I do like to do the traditional way of opening up the fiber as much as possible. This has all the colors in it. I want something a little darker for this end. Oh, come back out. Now, Gary, if you're interested, I'm going to take a little break. And if you'd like, I'll come back and I'll give you a visualization to help your brain relax. We haven't done that in a long time. Okay, don't you get ahead of yourself there. I don't want to get any of that part wet. I just want to do a little bit. Oh, then you should definitely rest your eyes. I'll take a quick break and I'll come back and I'll walk you through a closed eye meditation. You can rest your eyes. How's that sound? Did you get the vitamin C? When a person's diet is really low in vitamin C, they become more susceptible to eye infections, ear, nose, all that stuff. So you gotta make sure you keep that vitamin C at least 250 milligrams a day. You don't have to go over 250. That's all the body can absorb in a day. But that'll help. All right, I am gonna take a, give me a song break. I'll put the song back on, I'll put the mute back on, and I'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
I woke up feeling like I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering?
Okay, darlings, we're back. What I see in one eye is very similar to your cloth. That, I'm not sure what you are referring to about the cloth, but if you're seeing this cloth out of your eye, you need an eye doctor. That sounds like a torn retina or something. But let's do something in your head that you do not need eyes for, okay? Are you comfy? Hello? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. You let me know when you're back. I'm back. Let me move a few of these things so I do not endanger them with water before I'm ready to attach additional panels. This is not the kind of thing you want to accidentally pre-felt. You need to kind of do it in one. I've been comfy. It's my bed. Okay. Good. And close your eyes when you're ready. Remember, you can do this open-eyed, but it works better if you're closed-eyed. I will even lower the light. All right. Can you hear me okay if I talk at this level? Do I have to speak more loudly? Excuse me. I'll type in so people understand. Can you hear me okay? I need to know because I don't want to be talking for 10 minutes and then have somebody say, "What did you say? I couldn't hear you." I'm glad I'm checking. So you can understand me just fine, like at this volume. You're good? Okay. Just lean back. And I'm sorry if I have to clear my throat, or actually, it's my lungs. So, sorry. Try to get out of the way now. Oh, well. Okay. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose and blow it out slowly through your mouth. You can inhale quickly, exhale slowly. If you do that, that will automatically short circuit anxiety syndrome. Inhale fast, exhale slowly. And when you're ready and feel safe, go ahead and close your eyes. You don't need to look at me. You just need to hear my voice and imagine along with me. Okay. I want you to imagine that at the top of your head is a little spigot, and this little spigot is attached to a balloon. I want you to think of whatever is bothering you today, anything that just pops in your head. We don't want to go laboring the point. We don't need you to remember every single bad or crappy thing that happened today or yesterday. We just want you to, whatever pops in your head as an irritant or a complaint, just let it just rise, and literally let it rise up through your body, up through your head, and through that spigot into that balloon at the top of your head. Now, this balloon might change color as you are filling it. It might start out a pretty color and change depending on the nature of your thoughts. But just go ahead and imagine that it's just securely stuck to that spigot. That balloon is filling up, and just imagine all of that stuff going up there and getting trapped in the balloon. When you feel like the balloon is full enough, go ahead and see it get tied off, and it pops off the spigot and drifts away. You can watch that balloon floating away in the sky, closer and closer to the sun, until it just disappears. Now go ahead and see a different balloon attached to the spigot on top of your head. But now the spigot has turned into a string, and you're holding on to that string. The balloon is floating above your head. What color balloon would you like to hold on to for a moment? What color makes you feel happy when you think about it? Sometimes it's a happy red balloon or a bright orange. But if another color calls to you, your balloon is your balloon. Make it any color you want, even a swirling rainbow that never settles on one single color. And this balloon you're holding on to is now getting bigger and bigger and bigger and lighter. And you can start to feel it pulling up on you. You're lifting off the ground. You're now a couple inches hovering above the ground. You're realizing now that you're in a big field of grass. Above you is a beautiful blue sky with puffy white clouds. and this gigantic balloon you're holding on to very securely. And it's just lifting you up. And if you want, you can climb higher. If not, you can just kind of float across the field, letting the bottoms of your feet touch the tops of the grass. Enjoy the feeling of the wind in your face, beautiful summer breeze, wind chimes in the distance. Your balloon floats you over to a beautiful chair in the middle of the field. It's a comfortable chair. I'll bet if you sit in it, you'll feel really good. Let your balloon float you over to that chair and get settled into it. If you're way up in the sky enjoying the fresh air, just slowly let yourself lower to the ground toward that chair. There's no rush about anything. Now think about something that you have seen that made you smile. A kitten playing, a puppy rolling in the grass, a really good-looking donut. And when you think of things that make you smile and you look up, what color is that balloon you're still holding on to? Notice that this balloon just keeps getting bigger with every happy thought you have. The more happy thoughts, the bigger that balloon, the lighter you feel. Enjoy that feeling. Now, you don't have to stay on the ground if you don't want to. You can just float right off if you want, holding on to your balloon of happy thoughts. Now, if you want to go someplace in particular, go ahead and let the balloon float you over there, because we're going to have to come back to Earth in a minute. So get comfortable. Let it bring you to a place of comfort. When you're in this comfortable place, look up and you'll see that the balloon is shrinking into a miniature and floating down into the palm of your hand. Wrap your fingers around it. It's yours. It doesn't matter what size it is in your hand. In your mind, it's infinite. Go ahead and take that little balloon and stick it in your pocket for a rainy day. And if your eyes are still closed, feel yourself centered in your body. And I'm going to count from 3 to 1. And when I say 1, you're going to be able to open your eyes and just feel great. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. I'm going to go grab some hot water while you come back to this current reality. Okay. Telling boiling water to add to the water that's been sitting here and getting cold. There we go. I have really come to appreciate that bowl. It was dumped downstairs in the community room with some other stuff to be picked up by anybody. And it just, I looked at it and said, you know, I'm not exactly sure what I need that for, but I need that. And then, ta-da. And thank you, Gary. I hope you feel a little bit calmer and relaxed, a little brain rested. And we're not going higher than this because there's a lot of felting to do, and I don't want the wrong parts of it to be wet before I'm ready to add extra stuff. So this is more tricky than, oh well, that did get very warm. This is trickier than doing this as a one-piece unit. I really wish I had a larger studio. But we'll work it out. I'm getting things done one thing at a time. I got my Lenovo pad programmed now. And I've been just kind of going back and forth, like, it's got a keyboard that attaches to it. It's awesome. And I can actually see the keys. If they're close enough. I mean, it's a good setup. But if I want to write in bed, like I frequently end up doing, I get inspired in weird hours. So sometimes at 4 in the morning, I'm sitting there writing notes, but I don't do it with the keyboard. I do it, actually, I swipe. I have a little writer's program on the Kindle. Well, if I want to protect the whole pad, I have a silicone backup with bumpers. But that means I can't put the keyboard on it, which is stuck with little magnetic pins. So I have to keep like changing the whole setup. If I want to work at night in bed, I have to remove my keyboard and put the protection on it, because I have a tendency when I get those urges to also fall asleep while I'm writing, and that's when things slip. And since I don't want anything slipping onto the floor, I'm trying to just work out what's going to be comfortable for me. Every time I move, every time I start into the writing, it's like I've got new circumstances and I have to recreate my writer's environment. Now, Namara's 3, although of course it's science fiction fantasy, is going to have a lot of humor in it, but it's also my most serious of the 3 novels. So it's important to me to get it done before I croak. All right, this plastic is not going to cover down here yet, so let's bring it back up. Let this down. See, not enough room. I really need a table that's about, I don't know, another foot wide at least. I'd like it to be about 6 feet longer. You know, like an industrial group meeting kind of a table. I see a long desk like they use in meetings. I remember my father's meeting room. had one of those really long wooden tables. So, you know, at least a dozen officials could sit at it. It's like, well, this is cool. I want to do art on it. This would be a great place for me to play. I didn't agree. It's very wet. Hold on, I'm trying to get some of the water off use again. We want this nice and saturated, but I have to put the plastic back on it to do the felting. But I don't need it to be quite as wet. Plastic. I like to use this. I just have to do it a little at a time. At this stage, you're just making sure it all sticks together. You don't want to get aggressive. You don't want to rub it because it'll just fall apart. Now, let's see, this works. We can do some of this. Hello there. How are you doing? I'm doing a type of a cobweb scarf right now, but I have to do it in little sections. I don't have enough room to put it all out and just do it as one piece. I wish I did. Excuse me. Yeah. Let's take a quick look at all the water I need to soak up. Oops, sorry. Okay, you dry. I will continue. It's currently way too fragile to roll up and get aggressive with. It's still at the just gentle patting everything together stage. It always seems like a magic trick that doing this makes things turn into fabric. Loose threads into fabric. Blows my mind all the time. Like, everybody needs to learn this. What if you need clothes? Okay, clothes that is not petroleum based. I just need a song. A little more rolling. Okay, we got the edges. And for the rest. careful. Yeah, I'm going to do this just to keep it from dripping on me. I need to invent a self-drying towel table. Yep. It is now close enough to becoming fabric that I can touch it with my bare hands and work the fibers this way. Certainly, Adrienne. Are you playing that game? And there it is. The first part of the scarf. Just needs setting with some hot water and vinegar to wash. Got the pH right again. And that's one piece done. But now we have to do the rest. So how am I going to do this? Keeping this wet and that dry until I'm ready to wet it. Well, oh, I know, a pool noodle. I think I got one around here. Yes, I do. Here you go. Da, 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 da. Don't get any smart ideas. Oops, sorry. We're not quite ready to get this wet. Sure, it doesn't. Because we've got some strengthening points that we're going to attach first. Don't you felt that way? It's this way. Thank you very much. Okie dokie. Let's get the magic started. We want this a little higher up with the greens. Not you. You're for later. Think we can finish this today before I get too hungry to say, we're just gonna stop so I can eat. See you in 2 hours. I don't know. We'll find out. I don't like it. This is a little wider. Oh, yeah. Let's go a little moodier. Oh no, this is more of a add-on at the end. Here we go. You too. Okay. And we'll do it either way, poison. And I've heard hammering all day. Oh, that's a shame. That's not pleasant at all. I'm glad I remembered I had that pool noodle. Okay. We're ready for the second round. And then we'll have one more after that. Until the end of this, where we will add on lengthwise. Let's get that wet. Not over the end of the plastic, dear. Mama, I got a little too enthusiastic. Oh dear. I'll just give that a little too hard of a shake. Step one, skip the water through the fiber. Get the air out of there. Can't do that yet. Oh, shit. Stay there. And you stay there. Right. Yeah. Don't fold, you're not fabric yet. I know. Thank goodness I used that plastic on it. So lay it back out where it belongs. I'm throwing the mess on Min now after all these hours of work. Just do this little bit of a time here. Straighten back out. It's still at that vulnerable stage. That's what I was afraid of. Yeah, don't do that again. Oh, this is gonna be fun to wash. All right. Come on, air. Can't have all that air in there. It's no good. You ever heard of the song Jam Tomorrow, Jam Yesterday, but never jam today? No. It's not felted. Get this. Hey Ree, how you doing today, sweetie? How was your dinner with the family? Going, why is there a lump there? Something slipped under the towel. All right, now. Is this the... Yes. Got another towel here. Go. Of course, I gotta do it again. I'm running errands. Oh, right. Yeah. Food time. I've been procrastinating on the good meal. I've just had a little quick snack before I came on. But I'm expecting a delivery today of a couple of things I need. A couple of things for the felting. One of them being the handle material, so I can finish my purses. And a gold synthetic fiber. I think it's Angelina. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I don't know if it's going to be something I really get into. I do want to have a good gold, and it's hard to find a good gold that you can work into the wool, except for silk. Okay. Got our little foxtails on. Now I need my cross hatching, which is saved with this. Sent you some recipes for soups. Oh, cool. I'm always into that. Thank you for the garlic recipe. I have to get some garlic. I'm looking forward to trying that, though. In fact, probably the first thing I'll do when I get some garlic is drop some of it into my pre-existing pickle solutions. Those, I got a container of refrigerator spicy pickled slices, spicy dill. My first time trying them, I don't remember the brand. It's just something in the grocery store thing. In the refrigerator section. And they are good. They are very good. Probably make it a little different if I started, but I figure it's worth a shot. The worst that'll happen is my pickles will become more garlicky, which I like. And, you know. No, I never saw that version. No, never saw Alice in Wonderland like that. I grew up with the Disney version, the movie version, and the score that went with that. So no, don't know, don't know. I know that it was a hallucinatory book. You know, I've read it several times. But the most disturbing version I found was the one that had Johnny Depp in it. That reached a different pitch. I can't say I enjoyed it. I thought it was a little too, I don't know, perverse for the story. I loved Alice in Wonderland. Some things, I don't know. The only song I remember from Alice in Wonderland was "A very merry birthday to us, to us. A very merry birthday to us, to us." I can't go on further because it's a copyright strike. But that's the only music I recall from Alice in Wonderland. Sorry. Like, I knew all the music to Bambi, the movie Bambi, before I ever saw the movie. I mean, like decades before I saw the movie. I didn't see Bambi as a child. I do not know why. I didn't see all the Disney stuff. I do remember taking my sister to see Pinocchio. It scared the crap out of her. She ended up crying, and we ended up leaving before the end. I didn't see the ending of Pinocchio for years. In fact, a lot of Disney stuff I did not see until I was in my, oh my God, my 30s? When they invented VCRs. I was around 28, 27, 28, I think. Because I got one as a wedding gift, the first marriage. And that was 1983, so yeah. 1983 was when I saw, oh, Cinderella. for the first time. Sleeping Beauty. I saw Sleeping Beauty for the first time when I was 28, 30, somewhere in there. It was the first thing I rented when we got our VCR. It's like, I've been wanting to see what this looked like since I was a little girl. And when I saw it on the shelf, it was like, yep, let's check it out. What about Carol? I never saw her. I didn't know anything about Carol Channing until many years later. And that had to do with Hello Dolly, not anything on Disney. Let's get a little smoky look in there, a little. All right. All right, here we go again. Try not to put on too much water, even though I always have to put on a little extra. We need more plastic. I really have to get more coordinated with all my plastic. I need the right sizes for different projects, but I couldn't really figure this one out because I have to do it piecemeal. I said, if I had my druthers, I'd have a 6 foot longer table than I have right now, and at least a foot wider. Candyman. Candyman, Candyman. What's scary? Candyman or Carol? Well, you're 39, but we're 72. I know the name, but I do not remember anything about Candyman. I do remember it was definitely got a lot of press, didn't it? Oh my God. Oh my God. I loved Vincent Price. I'd say I'm a Disney girl, but I'm not really. I didn't get into Disney until much later. And as an artist, it's always appealed to me. I mean, it looks they're really well done. Look at the artistry of the animation. Whether it was AI assisted or not, you have to admire Frozen. They did such an excellent job on that. Visually. But also, one of my favorites actually is Brave. The art in that. They had to invent a whole different animation, I guess an engine or something, to create the starring characters' long red hair. Now see, I definitely diverged from that. I know my son is definitely into horror stuff, not me. That I avoid anything gory, scary. Ugh. Now, I went to the theater for Clockwork Orange and oh my God, the really horrible movie Last House on the Left. I don't even know why they put those kinds of things out. That was like a real life horror story. Yeah, some of them are just like a little overdone for me. Now I saw Jaws, and that was freaking scary. But that's about scary and I don't like being tense anymore. When I saw Lethal Weapon for the first time, I forgot that you could pause a VCR so you can go pee. And I sat on the edge of my seat like, I have to go to the bathroom, but I can't miss this. It's like, oh yeah, pause. But that came in handy later when I learned about fast forward. You fast forward through anything icky. And that's, to this day, I still do things like that. I'll watch a movie I really like, but it's got one gross part in it. It's like, okay, we're fast forwarding through that, like Mike Myers. It's like he intentionally has to throw something really gross into the story for kids, who I don't know why. When I was a kid, I didn't like gross shit. But his character, that really gross one. Anyway, he would get really gross in the movie. It's like, you know what? I don't need that. Fast forward. Like people puking. I love The Meaning of Life from Monty Python, but there is a vomiting scene that I absolutely skip over because, like, I do not need that. I'm more of the, I don't know, sissy generation. I don't do scary. It's horror movie based on serial killings and converting range. Oh God, that rings a bell. Yeah. Now I remember we were still in school when we watched In Cold Blood. Remember the Truman Capote movie? That was freaking scary. That was true. Well, that sounds like a nice afternoon, evening, Gary. What'd you see? Movie about dinosaurs in a neighborhood. Were they having barbecues, or were they the barbecue? Or were they terrorizing the people doing the barbecue? House on Oak Street. Is that the name of the movie? I never would have thought a movie called House on Oak Street would have dinosaurs. Yeah. Yeah. I was friendly with a couple of actors and screenwriters on Facebook before dumping it. And they were definitely into horror. So we didn't have a whole lot in common when it came to, well, watching or writing movies. It's like, no, I'm working on a different kind of a movie altogether. Now, although I'd love to see my books turned into movies, they're not horror, for sure. Oh, kind of recycled idea of a movie. Oh, yeah, I'd say that's got enough grossness to satisfy anybody's appetite. I love SV. Can't even read it. Hold on, the chat is kind of cut off here. I love SVU. What is that? Now, I don't see television. I don't see commercials, except here on YouTube. So I don't know unless you tell me. Well, maybe before I finish felting that, I should add on to it. I may have screwed up again. Let's find out. All right, it's definitely harder to handle once it's wet. And it's very wet. No, 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 no. Do not do that. We need some overlap area here. Just open up. And you too. Whee. It's going to be really obvious where this joining happens. SVU is Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I have no idea who that is. Apparently it was Patch Adams. I need to buy that. I've never seen it. It's on my wish list for watching, but it looks like the only way I'm going to be able to see it is if I buy it. Right now, all the people who have licenses for it require a subscription. Wait a second. Well, in the movie, the dinosaur ate the husband's leg. And I said, Pop, his leg is gone. Then it ate him. And I said, oops, he's gone. Bad joke. He was a weirdo, though. You know where Mom is? Why there's a Mansfield bar on Semis? No. That's what it looked like it would be to me, Alice. So I put it on my list. I went looking for it. And I don't know, I might be able to buy it, but not stream it unless I buy it on Amazon. Right now, of course, I'm trying not to buy anything. It's the end of the month and all that. I love Robin Williams. He's such, it was so sad that he succumbed to depression. I understand it. I totally get it. But he suffered with depression his whole life before he found out he had Parkinson's. So I know it was a battle for him. But I do want anything Robin did, he uplifted. I think I actually own one of his last comedy specials. But for 21 years, the vast majority of any movies I bought had to be approved by Glenn as well, because he did not like to watch anything. Well, he didn't like to watch. You know, everybody has their own thing. But we only had so much money, so I only bought things I knew that both of us would watch. It's different now. Now, some movies, they made a lot of money. I don't understand why. Because when I saw Jurassic Park, I thought it was one of the most stupidest movies I've ever seen. It was so unoriginal. Sorry, Steven Spielberg, but everything was so... Every character was a stereotype. The whole thing was stereotypical. Oh, you know, when they were doing the romance novels, they had the ones that some old man was hashing out real fast, you know, with the cupping the breasts kind of thing. You expected those to be trashy because it was written in 10 minutes. But to see a whole movie made that way was really irritating to me. Such an Array of Emotions in Patch Adams. I know there's not a whole lot of emotions involved with Jurassic Park. It was so bad I would never see a sequel. Now, I liked Jeff Goldblum in it. That was about it. But even his part seemed like it was half-hearted. It's like, yeah, I'm in a crappy science fiction movie aimed at children so they can sell dinosaurs after. It was just irritation to me. But Jeff Goldblum, hey, even at his age, he is still a fox. And that looks like it's splitting on the perf. Oh, no good. It's just another piece of plastic. All right, we're going to try and extend this because we have a crap load of add-on. I didn't spend all those hours doing this for nothing. Still heavy duty. All right, where can we pull this? I realize a lot of people thought Jurassic Park was next level, but what did you think of it? Seriously. Because you have read a lot of books, you have seen a lot of movies. You definitely know the difference between a good horror movie and a crappy one. Hasn't he? Really? I get it. I get it. I actually use the Big Bang Theory episodes in the same therapeutic way. But now you've made me want to actually just buy it unseen. I was hoping I could watch it at least one time before buying it, you know. But if it's that good that you want to see it or hear it in your background, it's got to be a really good movie. And Gary, did you see Jeff Goldblum in Guardians of the Galaxy? He's hilarious and still sexy. Yeah, my dad was not around to enjoy Jeff Goldblum's career. I know he would have loved him, though, and probably been a little jealous. Jeff has the height that every Jewish man I've ever known doesn't. We're not known for our stature in general. That's why so many jokes about Jewish basketball players. Well, my father was a really good basketball player, and he was 5'10". I'm definitely not into dinosaurs now. I know a lot of people are, but that was never something that interested me. But then neither was G.I. Joe or Barbie. I didn't like dolls. I liked books. But it was during those Barbie years when my friends were playing with Barbies. That was back in elementary school before Rhea and I met. I did discover comic books because the girl whose house we frequently went over for playing dolls she had Barbie's dream house and a huge collection of costumes, which my girlfriends liked, and I was bored by. I had 3 younger sisters. The idea of sitting there dressing up a doll after doing it to 3 younger sisters did not appeal at all. Is it any wonder I didn't want children? But she had a brother who collected comic books. And so I'd sit there with a stack of comic books watching them play with stupid Barbie. And that's when I learned about Batman and Superman. And that's also why that's in my first No Mara story. That's how I felt. It was just stupid. It was stupid, and it was poor writing. I just could not believe when I heard it was a Spielberg movie. I was like, wait a minute. You who gave us, what was that one with the kid and the spirits and the corpses in the backyard? That was good. Why waste your time, Gary? There's so many good things out there. That's where I feel like I don't need to see something I thought sucked the first time. It's not going to change my mind significantly since I was an adult when I saw it and I already had developed my own sensibilities. But some stuff is really, yeah. I was really shocked. This is the man who did, well, George Lucas wrote Indiana Jones, I guess, but what was that one? You know what I'm talking about. It was a horror movie. They're back. That one. That was a huge hit. But that had actual moments of like, and good acting. They were very convincing. Mighty Joe Young, was it Everybody's House? Nope. Not in mine. I think my nephews, they were very much into dinosaurs as children, and they loved it when I sent them fossils. Matter of fact, my nephew doesn't know it yet, but when I see him next, I've got a gift for him, and it is a cup, a chalice carved out of fossils, which I know he'll like. But personally, my ex-husband, he was into fossils. It was fun going out and looking for them and finding them in the desert. I enjoyed that part, but there was a lot more involved than just looking at a rock. So I see the joy in finding things, but aside from that, again, that's kind of boring to me. It's like, okay, these walk the earth. Very cool. And now they don't. And also very cool. Glad they don't. Poltergeist, that's it. There. That was a good movie. I mean, I thought that was adequately scary. And the acting made it work. The teenagers being teenager, girl, kid, boy kid being a typical boy kid. I mean, it was just, it worked. And by the way, it worked even though I didn't want it to work, because the first time I heard about it, I was like, oh, come on, and not another one of those. But then I finally did see it and it was like, holy shit, they did a good job. Oh my God. Oh, that must have been horrible because of the snow. Because you know they would use that to add to the horror. Now, see, I felt like that. What was, let's see, it was another scary movie, but it was a remake of The Thing. The Thing. You know, plant that landed on the planet up in the Arctic. Well, I thought the first one was great science fiction, scary enough. Black and white, well done. And then they remade it with, was it Kirk Russell? And made it absolutely terrifying. I couldn't watch it all the way through. I got so upset at the first scene where the alien eats the wolves, kills the wolves, or the huskies or whatever. It's like, you killed my dogs? Fuck you. But it was just like unnecessarily, well, to me, unnecessarily. If you're into horror, I can see where you might have enjoyed it, but I was so upset, I literally got up, took that movie, and I threw it out on the front lawn. It's like, that's it, enough. So I don't remember what else was about it, but enough to make me upset. Oh, and another one that I had to put down without watching the whole thing was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Now, I know some people don't like him. I like him, and I thought that he's got a great sense of humor, which does come across in movies like Junior, or there's another one. Oh, Twins. I love Twins with Danny DeVito. So I like what he does, but this one called Eraser was just too close to political realities. Terrifying. I got only so far in, and I had nightmares for years after one scene, which I will not describe. It's like, okay, well, Arnold, I'll just have to look for you in Last Action Hero, where I liked you. Actually, I liked him in that movie too, but it was just so violent, so horribly violent. See, and I think that I understand to a degree, and I don't not understand all of it because I'm not a psychiatrist who studied it. I understand how some people love horror, some people actually get off on it. That, again, it's an individual thing. For me, it's best avoided. Took place in Australia. Oh, God. Now, Australia is a place I would love to visit on one hand. On the other, not so much. First of all, not the heat. I cannot handle heat because of my disease. But they're bugs. It's like going to the Middle East. I'll have nightmares just knowing they have those bugs. I forget that there is a place in Australia that does get some snow. I always just think of it as desert. Because our old friends of the shows, when I did my morning show, we had people from Australia. Lovely people. But they went through hell with the heat a few years ago, watching cars melt, fires. Yeah, just too much. I know. Yeah, Florida is just as terrifying in its own way. Anything tropical, tropical and desert critters can be very terrifying. Middle Eastern camel spiders gave me nightmares. I don't recommend looking it up. You don't do comedies or love stories. I don't do love stories, except occasionally accidentally. I do comedy and musicals. Definitely comedy all the time. I want to laugh. I already have PTSD, and anything that gets my adrenaline up is not a good thing, because, well, it can trigger things just on its own. And I didn't realize that, until years away from everything. And I realized that it doesn't take much to trigger that automatic, response. And I've been working very hard the last few years to train myself out of all that automatic stuff. So I like to have a reserve of funny, silly, crazy, like One Crazy Summer. I think that is one of the first movies that Demi Moore did. Was her first movie Mystic Pizza? I was here when they made that movie, and I lived around there, and I used to go down to Mystic, but there was nothing ever special about that pizza place. Matter of fact, I didn't like their pizza at all. What it has become, though, because of that fame, is way better. They enlarged, they actually built another upstairs room kind of a thing. They've got way more than pizza to eat. Aren't venomous? They eat, what? I don't know where you're seeing that, but the camel spider kills camels. Snowtown is the name of the town. Ah. So it could have been, it was not necessarily in a cooler part. Yeah, it was very unimpressive. However, I can tell you the last couple of years, the food's good. But then again, I only had one tiny piece of pizza because I got a salad when I was there. It was very, very busy and crowded. And unfortunately, because of things like that, the town has become nothing but a tourist town. I can tell you it was pretty crappy pizza at the time they made that movie. It was just a little place they could create a little story in, and I don't even remember what the story was about at all. I just remember a waitress or something. I didn't enjoy the movie. I didn't like the pizza. Love Mystic. It's gone through so many different changes. Some not for the best. But they have some really nice stores down there. There's a glass blowers shop Everything is handmade glass. Beautiful work. Matter of fact, every time we go there, my sister has to go in and see if there's something that she can buy for her daughter and son-in-law. So that's nice. Okay, we do not have patience for that. We need to fill that in. Very graphic. Which one is that? Oh, Snowtown, too graphic. Yeah. I have a very good imagination, and I've already witnessed enough horrible things that my imagination can feed on. So I have to limit all of that. It doesn't do me any good psychologically. I already have problems staying asleep because of other things. So, yeah, I don't need to add to that. So I'm very careful with what I put in my head, especially before bed. I'm very, very rigid about what I watch first thing in the morning and last thing before I sleep. Rigid in that. Nothing violent, nothing political, nothing religious, nothing gross. When I want to lay down my head, I want it to be filled with happy thoughts. In The Big Bang Theory, the character Raj starts going out with a dermatologist who became a dermatologist because it was the only legal way to use a scalpel on people. She likes cutting. And she's really into the worst of those horror movies. And he was kind of like conflicted. He said, I don't know about you. You know, you scare me. And she said, well, you know, can I tell you something without you judging me? And it turns out that watching those is a sexual turn-on for her. Now, I did not ever think about that, but that can make sense the way the brain is wired. I did not think about fetishes, for example, because I don't happen to have any. But when I was doing Toblerina, people were mentioning, well, is that for people with foot fetishes? And I said, no, it has nothing to do with foot fetishes. But I can see if you have a foot fetish, you might like this, but no, that's not what it's about. And that's not whom it's for. But I found that the number one fetish in humans is a foot fetish. So I had to look into it. And after I did, neurologically, it actually makes sense. It's the way our brain is wired. That our, think about the location of our genitals, right? Lower half of the body. Well, in the brain, you know, they have regions that kind of run stuff. The region that is, you know, the neurological, I guess, footprint of your foot is right next to the neurological area of your genitals. And sometimes the wiring kind of crosses, gets close together, and it becomes a turn on. So that's why the foot fetishes are the number one fetish. It's a very common thing in the brain. About other stuff, I've got no clue. I did not look into any of that. Luckily, psychology isn't actually not going to be a major thing in book 3. I'm researching a lot more practical things because of my characters and what they're going to have to do. So, like felting, it's actually part of that research. Yeah, I'm not into feet either, Gary. But some people are. And I don't condemn them for it. It's just how they're wired. And I think if we paid more attention to the fact that we're all not the same, and that's okay, right from the get-go, people would not develop certain things just because, some of that development is because they feel different. They feel like the monster in the room. They feel ostracized, unwelcome because they're gay. You know, it's all this stuff that is part of the brain, but we make it a mental issue when it doesn't have to be. If we were just a little bit more understanding about human nature. We keep trying to fit everybody in this neat little box, and that doesn't exist with humans. We do not have one neat little box for all of humanity, or all women, or all men. So when I was doing Toblerina, it was the most innocent. It was more like a joke about Miss Piggy and her always having the same pose while she wore different costumes, you know, when she was going to be a model. It was more along those lines than anything else. All right, let's see how we're doing. Nope, that's not on there yet. Let's get that back down. All right. I forgot about adding those strips. I probably should have them going in the other direction. Thought you had found a kink. All you had to do was ask. I've never talked about such things. I found a source of humor, and that's all Toblerina has ever been to me. It made me laugh. I mean, who else makes a string bikini for her big toe? So no, it definitely not a fetish, just a love of being silly and artistic at the same time. I prefer legs. I'm willing to judge by the individual what I like about them. I have always been attracted to nice strong arms. I like a well-developed arm, which I don't have, but I like them. All right, don't get tangled up. Stuff is so delicate to start. All right, I'm going to stand up to do it this way. And then we can check it again. Glenn had really good legs. He used to get whistled at every time we did road shows. I'd be setting up the tent, and there'd be women that could drive by, and they'd always have something to say, because he always wore short shorts. All right, so we've definitely got our breakthrough spots, but that's okay, because we are making a cobweb. Okay, now this is going to be another difficult part. Piece. Nope. This is too big, but I'm running out of options here. Getting sticky with soap. Wait a second. I think we'll reserve this. Do you have any favorite body parts, Marie? In observing them and, you know, our favored sex? Oh, I guess we should go dark to light again, huh? How about, I don't know, we'll reserve you for later. Go over there. Thank you. You got this already nice and stretched. Now, I think this should be the last attachment. The other panel, I'm going to make a second scarf, which will be a little different. Ugh, today has been so spasmodic. It's really getting on my nerves. Now, another thing that these cross pieces are going to do is help prevent some of the shrinkage going this way. These wispy things work. Well, looks like I'll need to do 2 stages on this end. We're almost done setting it up. Don't know your number, I don't answer. You have to send me a chat. All right. Now the one thing I did not do is add the white silk. It's not too late. I haven't finished actually felting, but I probably won't at this point because it's been sitting here all wet. Gary sent something. Won't be able to look at it for a while, Gary. Now let's get the bottom part of that. Come on, squish down. All right, let's get the rest of this set up. Ooh, you don't need that there. You are definitely not needed there. stayed in. Right there. This has to be the most boring scarf yet. Oh, what's with the nose now? I'm not allergic to wool, but occasionally we get some that's got foreign substances, like stuff that grows in the field, where the sheep run and frolic. Oh, I better put some down there too. Over this green. Blue end. you down there. And bring you up here. Poofy. All right, let's try this again. Maybe more plastic. All right. This is the last one for this piece and this day. Don't lift. We gotta get you all battened down. Squeeze out the air, get the water through those dry fibers. Rehydrate, rehydrate, rehydrate. Which reminds me, water, water, water. Okay. My goodness, how long have I been on here? Over 3 hours again. Crikey. Well, that should be wild. Yes, we do have spaces here that do not have a lot of wool on them. That is the whole idea. That's what makes it a cobweb. I will make it a cobweb. Okay, so it has been a lot of hours. So I'm going to call it a day. Let me take a look at my calendar real quick. Tomorrow's Tuesday. See, Tuesday, tomorrow the 25th. Oh, I'm good. Now, I'm just going to take a quick look outside my door to see if my bag arrived. okay. I hope that you have taken at least an ibuprofen for your problems today, Gary. All right, my dears. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Oh, hey, the headless artist. Thank you for hanging out with me all these hours. I really don't like to make streams longer than 2 hours. It's really tedious. Not for me, but for people wanting to watch it. And since this is just a same old, I will probably delete this one too. Although I might leave it up for a few days since we did have a conversation here today. And tomorrow I'll be back as soon as I can get my butt to the table. I may have to do some laundry. I'll see. But in any case, I will be back at some point tomorrow. I'm going to take the rest of the day and do some chores. So you have a good night. Feel good. Sweet dreams be yours, dear, if dreams there be. Okay,